Hey everyone, JSD Cool here, and welcome to another episode of Coolcraft Season 5. In the last episode, I built an ice farm, which is somewhere out in this direction, where I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that was the thing. Go watch the previous episode if you'd like to see that. Now, in between episodes, I have done a tad bit of building, you can say, or maybe you see, I don't know. But yeah, I did a lot of work here building out this portion of the rail system. I don't have an official name for this, which is interesting. Probably should have an official name, but yeah, this took a while. In particular, this took so long, it is the sole reason why I haven't put out a video in a while, because I've been working on this for the better part of like 2.5 weeks. And then there was also Easter weekend when I didn't do anything over it because I wasn't at my computer. Besides that, this leg of the journey has now been completed, and I said at one point I was going to do stuff in the nether. I'm not going to do that anymore. That is absolutely out of the question at this point. This has taken so freaking long. However, I can now finally say that this is complete and goes to its logical end, which is right here at the iron farm. So, in this episode, we have a lot of work to do to actually make this system fully functional in the end. So I'm going to make a list here of what we're going to need to do to finish this off. First thing we need to do is stock all these droppers, whether it's down here or up there. We need to stock them with items so that they will actually, load the chunks and know that there's stuff in the chunk that needs to be loaded. The second thing we need to do is actually build the nether side, as these are all nether portals here, and, there's another side to them in the nether that actually, needs to happen in order for them to work. The next thing I need to do is actually build the very end part over here that will load items up into minecarts to send them out. And the last thing on this list, at least for now, is make the chunk loader for the storage system at the other end actually activate once a minecart comes in. So, this is a pretty tall ordered list, so let's get started by stocking the droppers, and I guess also lighting these portals. Alright, stockage of the portals has been completed, and they're all lit now, so we can tick that off. Next is nether side portals. The digging and platforming for the portals has been completed. Materials acquired. Building commences now. Alright, I was planning on time-lapsing this, but then things came up like fire alarms and going to bed, so yeah, didn't end up time-lapsing this, but I did it. All these portals are in, and I've tested the ones on the end to make sure they align correctly, and they do. Now, I don't want to get close to this right now. I mean, as you can see, that goes all the way. Because there's so many dispensers, it kind of screws with sound. Heck, okay, you can't actually just, okay. We'll fly along next to it, not getting too close so that I don't, blow people's ear, and I need more fireworks. But anyway, I don't want to blow people's eardrums out with how freaking loud that is, with how many droppers are just firing there. But yes, as you can see, it does go all the way. Oh, I got close enough where my fireworks don't make sound anymore. Anyhow, it goes all the way to the corner there, and yeah, it should work. However, so this now means that we can build a nether side off of the list, and I actually did add one here that I forgot to put in the process, but we now have to test this entire system to make sure minecart can make it unattended from my base here all the way over to the storage system. Now, to do this, I should probably get a minecart, but I'll just talk through this first. I'm going to use a data pack that I showed up, and I was just going through it, checking, making sure everything's good, I can still use it, and I was panicking because I couldn't find it, and then I realized I actually did compress it into a file, and it's still on the server. So yeah, let's do a test. And that should be go on the last test, which is necessary to confirm the functionality of this system. Which means that we can mark a tested off. Now, that was actually a very significant step because, yeah, I actually had to make some changes, as you can see here. So first of all, on this axis here, I had to add a piston on each one of these so that they would properly recycle items. As you can see, a lot of them have piled up here for some reason, and these pistons are supposed to help provide block updates to prevent that from causing issues. In the nether here, I've had to add pistons in between every other one of these things to similarly prevent bud-powered droppers from preventing the system from working. And I had to make some changes to the first couple portals I put in here. Now, the biggest change that I had to do here is I actually had to move these portals back a block because they weren't correctly aligned with the readings I was getting from the overworld, which was annoying, so they were not linking to the right portals. And the other thing I had to do is I had to change the dropper configuration so that nuggets don't just go flying into the space in between portals and then just despawn, which was also causing problems. Alright, so the next item on our to-do list today is to build the loading end of the system, which is going to go right here. Although I actually have yet to design this end because I don't know why really, but it's going to go right in this chunk here, come right off of here, and come from that. So yeah, guess that's time to hit the creative mode to actually get designing. Alright, so here I am in the creative testing world, starting to design the endpoint station here. And I've got the basics of what's going to happen here. No actual redstones in yet, just mostly the rails. So, to start off with, when a minecart comes into the station here from its return from having dropped stuff off, it will have a piece of paper inside of it telling it, the piece of paper which directs it not only back here, but is also used to direct the outgoing cart. When the cart comes in, it will be broken by this handy minecart breaker here. The routing item will be placed inside of this hopper line here, and of course the carts will be placed inside of this dispenser system here. This is where the carts will be loaded, and once they have reached a sufficient fillness level, they will be released, and the next cart being loaded with one of these items. Now let's do some redstone. Alright, I think I got this redstone done. It was not that complicated in the end. So, mostly what it consists of is just reading the cart's value, comparing it to what I'm currently saying is a single strength of 12. When the threshold is reached... Oh, this is on. I should turn that off. When that threshold is reached, it will activate this pulse extender here, which will activate the chunk loader to make sure things can start running smoothly. A couple ticks later, the minecart will also be released so it can travel into that chunk and start going on its way, and at the same time a new minecart is released from this dropper and put into position. So yeah, I think this system is now ready to be built on the survival server. Was not all that complicated. The end has been built. Now we just need to connect it up to the output of the iron farm here. Alright, that's done. Now let's move on to the other end of the system. I've started work on the clock system for the storage system to get that chunk loading grid up and running. And here's what I come up with. So this system should run for about 6 or 7 minutes after activation until it gets shut off. And the primary way that it works is when something happens, which I think will be items moving through a different chunk loader, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll receive a redstone pulse here, which will reset this counter here. When this counter is not 0, it will activate this long effective clock system down here, which takes about a minute or so per cycle to activate. A bit less, actually. And every time this cycles once, it'll pulse this thing down once until it gets to 0. And while this is not at 0, this clock will actually be running the chunk loaders themselves. So yeah, I gotta simplify this and then I'm gonna build it on the server. Clock has been built up on survival here, as well as connected into the grid down below and the activation method. For activation, I've just decided that I'll just take when this chunk loader here is active, so items are going through this hopper here, I'll just take a pulse out of that and send it into the activation for this system here. And that should hopefully work well enough. So, now that this is done, okay, the checklist here has been completed, which means the final step to get this system up and running is to actually put the various things like sorting into it. So, got some paper here that's labeled as iron farm, so I'll put these here and stuff on the other end, and then I just gotta make 1.5 million minecarts. So yeah, good thing I'm next to the iron supply. Alright, so I've just got back from an attempt at AFKing overnight, and we can see there is a minecart missing here. And this minecart is about half full. So I don't know when I got kicked, because I know I did, but I actually don't know when, because for some reason that wasn't reported. I could probably look at my logs, but anyhow, so there is currently a minecart missing from here, and over here at the other end, you'll see that there is, of course, a minecart waiting at the output here. However, it does have an item in it, which means it should have been sent off, but for some reason was not. Everything else is otherwise normal. In fact, over here at the actual output shulker box for the iron farm, we can see we actually did get iron, so everything was successful making it here. And heck, these chunk loaders here are still running, which is actually pretty cool. They have not lost their items, which means they are perfectly functional and able to function over time. However, for some reason, and this is something I will probably have to work on, this minecart just was never released. So, also though, another minecart wasn't dispensed as well, which makes me think that maybe it never actually got a signal from this somehow. Alright, hopefully I have been able to fix the issue here with the minecart not moving with this pretty drastic redesign. So, yeah, there's that. With that being done, I'm now going to have to say thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my game, which is linked in the description, and I will see you all in the next episode of Cool Craft Season 5. Bye.